so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Open Mic with Mac. My name is Michaela Patton, and I am the founder of this podcast. This week's special guest is a fellow San Diego native. She is an actress that you guys may recognize from her work on Gotham, and she is also an extremely talented professional dancer. It is with great pleasure I introduce my friend, Camren Bicondova. Hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me this week.
Yeah, thank you for having me and asking me to be part of it.
Of course, I'm so excited. So I know last time I saw you, you were living in New York City. This was pre-coronavirus times. Now you're back in California, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what has this year been like over in California? What have you been up to since COVID-19 has struck?
It's been interesting. It's definitely been a year that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
I took all of last year off, essentially, a year-long hiatus from working, lived with family, lived by the beach.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it was definitely necessary.
Yeah.
And then I talked to my team earlier this year and I was like, hey, I'm ready to work again. And they're like, great. And then boom, coronavirus decided to invade everyone's space. So yeah, it's really just been a lot of staying active, a lot of emotional, mental healing,
Yeah.
trying to remain as social as possible with friends. I mean, I'm a little more relaxed about it now than I was before, just because I needed some sanity. But yeah, it's really been very uneventful.
I mean, I think for everyone, yeah, they've all
Yeah.
been in the same boat. I mean, so for those who may not know you, who are tuning in, when you say you took a year off of work, you were working on a show Monday through Friday, like insane hours for 5 years straight. So when she says she's taking a break, it's because we wrapped a show in 2018, and basically your whole, adolescence and teenage years, you were working. You were working your butt off.
Literally. I mean, like, I got into the dance industry and became a professional dancer when I was about 11 or 12. And then after doing that for a few years, I got Gotham at 14. And then we wrapped when was I 19? I was 19.
Yeah.
So literally, it was just, like you said, the entire span of my formative years was spent on a show. And that's just wild to think about now. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't understand the weight of that before, just because, it was work to me, and I've been working for so long.
Right.
So it was just like, oh, this is a job, but looking back now, and I'm still a baby, I'm still only 21, but just looking back and being like, what in the world? I was 14, 15 on a national television show. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, people 21 are now looking at like careers, and you had your career, yeah, at such a young age.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So that's what else I was going to ask you. Aside from acting, I know you are a professional dancer as well. How have you managed to stay creative this year? Did you pick up any other hobbies, or did you kind of take this time in quarantine to focus on your dancing more?
Well, funny story. So, I was starting to get back into the swing of working out. And I had, listen, when I say I took a year off, your girl took a year off of everything. I mean, like, whoa. It's okay. She needed it.
Self-care, right?
To a certain extent, like, sometimes self-care can turn into self-deprivation. Like, yeah,
A
I
lot of
just
Netflix and chill and snacks. And
too much Netflix and chill and snackies.
yeah,
Just sitting in the same spot for hours on end, but that's okay.
I have
There's
been there too. Don't worry.
I get it. So I was getting back into that, and actually starting to enjoy it again. I found a trainer, and she's incredible. And then the pandemic hit, and then once I started working out again, once it was a little safer, or at least once I thought I've just judged the circumstances
Yeah.
off my own knowledge and been like, okay, sure, this can work. Because there's no right way to live through a pandemic.
No. And I think
But
this is I mean, I don't think, I know this is the first time any of us have ever experienced this before. So to gauge it is kind of hard.
it's so hard, right? And so once I was like, okay, I can, I can start working out with her again. I injured my leg, so then I couldn't really walk for a month and a half.
Wait, you had
And
an
then
injury though on Gotham too. You were
I
wearing a
know
boot, if I remember correctly.
it was the same leg, except
Oh no.
my body is just, it's so prone to injuries that's also another thing that I'm learning right now is like, what am I putting in my body and what can I be putting into it that can actually help it instead of, break bones easily or tear
Yeah.
muscles easily. Um, it's a wild journey, but so basically, I haven't been able to, all of that to say, I haven't really been able to dance as much throughout this pandemic as I've wanted to, just
Mm.
because um, I spent so long just having a hard time walking,
Yeah.
um, and then just trying to like build my strength up from that, and then I broke my finger recently,
Oh my goodness.
so it's just like, okay, love you 2020, cool,
Oh my
thanks.
gosh. Wait, how did you break your finger? We don't have
um,
to talk about it if you don't want to talk about it.
well, I missed a high five, and instead of high fiving a hand, I high fived a wall.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like, now my finger is completely sideways, and I'm just like, why couldn't it be from saving someone from getting hit by a car
Oh,
or like helping an elderly woman cross the street? Like, I don't know. It's literally from missing a high five.
that is too funny. Oh my
It's
gosh.
been like 2 weeks and it's still sideways. So
Oh.
we love
Well, I wish you a speedy recovery for your
thank you.
finger. Um, so you've been really open about your faith on social media, and I wanted to ask, has that been a tool that you have used this year to maybe stay positive?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Jesus is a saving grace when it comes to solitude and isolation.
Yeah.
um, and I honestly like, by like, do you believe in, like, do you follow Jesus? What's your like?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up kind of not kind of, I grew up religious. My one side of my family is very Catholic, the other side is very Christian, like Baptist, Southern. So yeah, I believe in Jesus. I would say I'm a Christian.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
go to church like
Okay,
I probably should, but I do have that relationship that I pride myself on. So
let's go. No, it's nice to hear because sometimes, like, and obviously it doesn't, like, my relationship with him doesn't, it's not, my explanation of my relationship with him isn't contingent on whether someone follows him or not, but
mhm.
it's nice to kind of like gauge who I'm talking to, just so
Right.
I come off preachy,
Hmm.
um, but it's definitely been a beautiful time to actually involve myself more into a church community, which I'm not necessarily used to, and just seeking Him more, having a lot of time to pray and a lot of time to really get to know Him and understand that He's, not only the Spirit, but He's a friend and He's my Father. And there was one time, though, I have to be completely honest. I was like, I was feeling so wonky. And I was like, I told everyone that I was talking to at that point, which is like two people. I was like, I just need to be alone. I just need to be with Jesus. I need my God time. I was like, just give me a week. And I misinterpreted that. I misinterpreted isolation as solitude.
Mm.
And then after the week went by and it was a really hard week to get through, I read this verse and it said, and I think this could speak for everyone during this pandemic. It said, a man who pursues isolation, a man who isolates himself pursues selfishness and rebels against all sound judgment. And I was like, hmm,
Interesting.
hey. So basically, I have isolated myself. And yeah, so um, I loved that moment
Yeah.
and that part of the pandemic for me. But yeah, he's been a saving grace, and I've also like taken time off of social media because there's been so much going on that I have no idea what to talk about on social
Yeah,
media.
we're in a tricky spot right now, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the world. I think there
in
there
the
is a lot
world.
of stuff, which is why I created this podcast because I feel like every time I log on to Instagram, especially, I'm not big on like Facebook. I think I have a Twitter account. I haven't used it like ever. Um, but yeah, every time I log on, I feel like there's a new issue or there's something really radical that's happening. And I feel like with this podcast, hopefully we can sit down and have an open discussion and talk about things maybe that's on people's minds to get different perspectives because everybody, everyone just wants to be heard. And maybe if we take a minute to sit down and listen to one another, that can be the start of a bigger change that
For sure.
needs
Yeah.
to happen. Yeah.
What about you? Has this been a time where you've been able to tap into your relationship with him more? Has it been a lot of family time? Like, what's that been like?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of my religion, like I said, I'm not as like I don't go to church as often as I should. I do, pray and stuff. So I am spiritual like in that sense, but it's definitely not like how it was when I grew up. But I have taken this time to spend time with family. I lived in New York for the past 6 years and I worked on set as you did as well. So my hours kind of were it limited my time where I could see my family and my friends or go back home even. I went to California maybe a handful of times in that 6 years to go visit family.
Right?
Yeah, I'm from San Diego. So,
We talked about this.
yeah.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
So, are you in San Diego right now?
No, I'm in New Jersey. So when we shut down, I left New York because I had a feeling that like things were kind of going to go south.
Mm-hmm.
So my boyfriend lives in New Jersey. I came back here. And it's been great. I have family here, and it's been a good time to kind of just like deal with some like self-care and work on myself. I started working out again, um, which is not the most fun thing in the world,
It
but
sucks, booty juice, but it's so worth it.
yeah, yeah. So just like just little things like that. I mean, yeah, this year has been weird. It's definitely not what I'm used to. I'm used to go, 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 and now I've kind of been forced to like sit back and like be like, okay,
Yeah.
what's next? What do I do now?
Oh,
Yeah.
dang. Well, I'm glad that you're like having this downtime and you have a puppy now. So,
Yeah. I know.
oh,
She's still back there.
it's
I
so
think
nice.
she's hiding. So knowing what you know now about this year and everything that you've been able to reflect on and kind of grow from, what advice do you have for any fellow creatives that may be watching, or you have a very large following, any fans that maybe are tuning in?
I forget that I have as big of a following as I do sometimes.
Is that weird for you when people say that?
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Cause I'm just out here living my life, you know.
Yeah.
I have a roommate, you know. I lay pretty low. I eat all the time.
Well, that's good. I hope so.
So it's a problem. I'm trying to get a hold of it, but you know, patience. But um, um, yeah, it's just so I forget that I forget sometimes or all the time. But as far as advice, like we're all figuring it out. You know, nobody has the answers, and um, I mean, for me, I can say wholeheartedly, like, whether you believe in God or you believe in a higher power or whatever it may be, it's like, I saw this quote the other day and it said, we're all going through life for the first time. Be a little easier on yourself. And it
I
really
love
hit me.
that.
Yeah, and it really hit me, as simple as it is, because I was like, oh, when I'm trying a new exercise, I'm not going to be the greatest at it. Or if I'm, going a new route to a destination that I've either been to before, or maybe I've never been to the destination before, I'm not going to know what to expect. And just having grace for ourselves in the sense of, okay, I don't know what the heck I'm doing,
Mhm.
but I mean, and I can only speak for myself, but God knows what the plan is. So let me just take a breath and know that everything will be okay, even if it's not right now, even if it sucks right now. Like,
Mhm.
okay, I acknowledge that it sucks, but it's not going to last forever. And just reminding ourselves of that, I think, can really help, and also kind of ease. It can help us have compassion for one another, because we're all going through it. Like, Joe at Trader Joe's is going through it. Trisha at Ralph's is going through it. Like, maybe Paul at the auto shop is going through it.
Stater
Like,
Bros. What's
Trader
another?
Rose, Sasha, who might be in maintenance. Like, I don't know. Like, we're all going through it.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to get caught up in our lives and how hard they can be, that we can project. And I'd say, if I have any advice, which is, I mean, I'm learning constantly, so I don't feel like I'm in the place to even give advice. I think, if anything, it would be, we're all figuring it out, and none of us have the answers, and it's as simple as that.
That's great
And
advice. I think that's great.
thank you. I mean, yeah, and anyone with any kind of, and I also feel the need to tell you this, like, I feel, as Christians, or as people who believe in God, there's this pressure to, like, go to church, and you're not a Christian, or you don't really believe in God if you don't go to church. And
Yeah.
that's completely false. I mean, like, you don't need to go to church to have a relationship with God. That's just a human expectation that
Hmm.
we put on ourselves. But um, I'd say, also, as believers, um, understanding that we really don't have the answers, and he does. And so just seeking his wisdom and his discernment constantly is really important, and I'm always having to do that as well. um, yeah, I think that's really what I'd have to say.
Well, that is
Yeah,
great advice. Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Cameron, so tell us, where can we support you? Where can we stream your work, watch you dance, any of that nature?
um, well, good old Netflix. Gotham is on Netflix right now. Honestly, I have nothing coming out. So Netflix, YouTube, Instagram. I
Yes.
When I say I took a year off, your girl took a year off, avoided every contact with any kind of camera, whether it be an Alexa or an iPhone. And um, yeah, so it's really just Gotham on Netflix right now, but I'm on Instagram and Twitter. This is so weird for me. This
Your handle's gonna be right in the corner when this is released. It'll
is
be up
there,
top. Yeah.
there.
It'll, yeah, on the right.
It's Camren Y on Instagram, like WHY, and then just Camren on Twitter. I haven't been very active lately, but working on that. Um, and yeah, I mean,
That's
I've been
perfect.
playing so low, Michaela. Like, when you reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do this, I had this moment of, like, I haven't been doing
Oh my
anything.
gosh. Well, when you say you took a year off, you needed that, and that's okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
what you needed to do. You literally, like, I don't think people understand that don't work in the industry, how insane the hours are. Not to say that, like, other professions don't work, the way we
Right.
do, but it's not common to work 18 hours on set, especially as a young girl, like you said. Like these are, really important years, and you're spending it around adults, working your butt off around the clock. It's tough.
Yeah.
You needed that year off, I think.
I definitely did. And it was interesting because like going into 2020, I had a very specific idea of what this year would look like.
Mm-hmm.
And with the pandemic, it actually made me realize, oh shoot, I haven't done a lot of as much healing as I thought I did. And yeah, so just reaching out to family members and um, doing all that, which is definitely necessary. And I'm glad I've gone through it this year. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to whatever God has in store. Um, as far as like whatever's next. I mean, I could not work for the next 5 years. And you know what? If that's his plan, I'm down. I'm in whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I'm for it. But yeah, right now it's just Netflix and YouTube.
Well, that's all right. That is just fine. I'm right there with you. So I just got
Okay,
Hulu. So for me, it's Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube. So
fun. Oh, Hulu, let's go. They have some bomb shows.
they do. Okay, I've been obsessed. This is really embarrassing, but I've been binging Love Island.
I've
I don't
heard of
know
that show.
why I love it so much. It's like a guilty pleasure, and I just can't get enough of it. It's so bad that it's good.
Is it like the new Love is Blind?
Similar, Love is Blind was kind of cringy, I think. But
It
I
was
mean, this
very
is,
funky.
yeah, it's just as bad. It's kind of like Big Brother. Have you seen Big Brother?
Mm,
Yeah, it's like that's an older show, I feel like. My parents watched it and then I got into it. But
okay.
it's like Big Brother. It's you're like competing for money, but then you guys get like coupled up and then the best couple wins.
Oh, wow. Come on. So
Yeah,
you get coupled up and you win some money.
there are people that have gotten married from this show. It's wild. You have to
Listen,
watch it.
listen, we love that.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. So,
Okay.
moving on, the the charity that Cameron chose this week is the San Diego Rescue Mission. Now, they are a nonprofit organization from San Diego, California. And like Cameron, I'm also from San Diego, so this foundation means a lot to me as well. Their mission is to end um, homelessness between men, women, and children in San Diego, which, a little fun fact, San Diego is the eighth biggest city in the United States, and we are on the list as number 4 with the highest homeless population, which is crazy. So that means there are 10,000 homeless people on the streets right now, currently in San Diego, which is just heartbreaking. So, Cameron, I'm going to pass the mic to you to open the conversation and tell us why you chose this foundation.
Yeah, I came across I came across them when I moved to back to San Diego in last year, and I wanted a place to donate my furniture, um, and I found them. I found out that everything that is donated to them is literally sold for the ability to provide for their shelter. And their emergency center for women and children is the only emergency center in San Diego. And I got to go there. It, okay, for a shelter in downtown San Diego, it is incredibly well kept, so clean. You can tell that they genuinely care for people.
Yeah.
But it is the fact that it is the only emergency shelter for the entire city of San Diego really broke my heart because it is a small space, you know. And as someone who has dealt with domestic violence as a child, I I I just the fact that there is a place for these women and their children to go is beautiful. But if we could provide in any way to make it a little bit easier for them to provide for these women and children who are in these very hostile situations, I would just love for anyone to be involved. And um, yeah, that's really my reasoning for choosing them. It's my home, it's our hometown, and it's the only emergency shelter, which is it
Crazy.
blows my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's really why I chose it.
Yeah. So the link is in my Instagram bio if you guys feel inclined to check it out. And as Cameron said, well, they are a nonprofit, so they do take donations, but not just monetary. They take things like furniture, clothing, school supplies. They really take anything. And on top of those donations, you can volunteer, which I think personally, donating your time is like the greatest thing you can do. When I lived in California, when I was in high school, my dad and I on Sundays, we would go with the church and we would do pancakes in the park. And so we would get, I know, it was awesome. We would do we would do that on Sundays with the church, and it was really just heartwarming to get to know these people's stories because I feel like there are so many different misconceptions of homelessness. And I mean, these people just want to eat and have a roof over their head at the end of the day. And so
Yeah.
this foundation's doing wonderful work to ensure that that happens.
And they also they also have a preschool for the children who are in the shelter, and they also have a building where they actually house people under a program, and they rehabilitate them and help them get back onto their feet, with certain qualifications and standards, but um, they're doing really great work. And yes, if you're in San Diego, for surezies, the people there love what they do, and you can tell that I'm at a loss for words. I only got to go there one time because then I ended up it just didn't work out. But I literally cried when I went there because the employees have so much passion for the work that they do, and these people are, coming to the shelter with nothing but backpacks and babies in hand. And to be able to help in any way, especially in like what you're saying, Michaela, in time, yes, if you're in California, please do that. I don't even want your money. I don't even want you to donate your money. I don't even care about your money. Just donate your time, honey. So yes, they're doing really great work,
Yeah.
um,
And
and I'm really
es-
appreciative of them.
especially with like, I feel like mom and pop, well, I mean, yeah, mom and pop charities. I know I've donated things to like the Goodwill, Salvation Army, which it
Mhm.
goes to a more, broad
Right.
group of people. At least with this, if you're donating clothes or furniture, whatever it may be, school supplies, it's directly going to these
Yes,
specific people, which I think is really, really great as well.
and even I just keep going back to the emergency shelter because
Well,
I
it's
I
important. It's super important.
thank you. Yeah, it is. Literally, so they have this small closet, and what happens is the women and the children, they line up at 5 p.m. And then the employees open the gate, and all of the women sign in, and they line up. I don't, obviously with COVID guidelines, I don't know what has changed, but they walk in, and there's a closet with everything donated: shirts, pants, underwear, diapers, formula, socks, even towels, sheets for the beds, detergent for the sheets to clean them, everything possible, shoes for the kids, because a lot of the times the kids don't have any shoes on their feet, shoes for the moms as well. So um, literally, these people are coming in with nothing but a last resort and a last attempt to, provide for their children and themselves. Even toys, because they have a little area for the kids to play during the day. Books for kids, so that people with teaching degrees can actually teach the kids. It's everything.
It's amazing.
Everything is donated. So Yes, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. I also quickly just want to touch on too, they offer different programs for rehabilitation and for recovery options for people. Because going with the misconceptions, I think a lot of people associate being homeless with drug abuse and alcohol abuse. And while that is, a big portion of it, not everybody falls into those categories, but for those that do, they offer rehab options and recovery, which is also wonderful. And it's offered without judgment, and they truly do want you to get better and they want you to break the cycle. And versus other organizations, they don't offer those things, which
Don't offer it,
pretty
and
incredible.
off it. The other organizations actually profit off of the failure of the people who come in.
Mm-hmm.
And just going there and seeing, the work that they're doing. They give jobs to the men that are housed there. They give jobs to the women that are housed there. And their goal is, if you are in their program, the goal is for you not to return. So there's just a whole lot of love and a whole lot of hope there. And it's just a really great organization, and I really wanted to spend my more time there, and it just didn't work out. So when you asked me what charity, I was like, oh, yes, this
This is
one.
the one.
Yes, yes,
Well, I love that you picked this one. And like I said, it hits home for me. So I was really excited to talk about it with you. So thank you for picking this.
yes. And thank you for asking me. What the
Of
heck?
course. So, again, if you guys want to check it out, the link will be in my Instagram bio until next Thursday. Camren, is there anything else that you want to touch on about this charity or about yourself that we haven't already discussed?
Mm,
No pressure.
um, yeah, um, there's definitely something. Um, I there's this verse that um and okay, I can only speak my truth, and I don't want to come off preachy, but this is the life that I live.
Hmm.
uh, there's this verse that comes to mind. It says, um anxiety weighs, I'm probably paraphrasing, but it's Proverbs 12:25, I think, and it says, anxiety weighs the heart down, but a good word cheers it up. And I just want, I just, not, I mean, I guess encourage. I don't want to be too weird, but I, I just want to encourage everyone to, um, no matter how you're feeling in a moment, to take a breath and be kind to whoever you're around, whether it be someone you're passing in the grocery store, or someone you're next to on the freeway, or your significant other. Remember that we're all going through this wild time as one body. And even though there's a lot of division happening right now, in a lot of ways, both racially, politically, there's just so much tension in our country and the world right now. And I, I want I don't want us to forget that we're all human, and we're all struggling with some form of anxiousness, some form of confusion, some form of hopelessness. And a simple smile can make someone's day. A simple hi, how are you? Even, sending each other memes if you don't necessarily talk to someone on a consistent basis. I just, there's a lot of hurt in the world right now, and hurt people hurt people.
Mm.
And I just, I don't want us to forget that we're we're each hurting, and something something so simple can a good word can cheer up someone's day. And yeah, I guess that's what I would like to say.
Yeah. A little kindness can go a long way.
Oh
I think
my,
I've said this in a couple past interviews as well, and it just holds truth for everyone. Just be a good, nice person. Be a kind
Yeah.
human. We're
You know,
all we're all humans. We all have feelings, and yeah.
we all have feelings. We all have things we're going through. We all have traumas we're dealing with.
Yes.
Even the guy who's really angry having to wait in a Trader Joe's line and is like swearing at the top of his lungs, it's just like
He's going through it too.
going through it too,
Yeah.
like he might be in a rush to go take care of someone. You never know. So just breathe a little more. That's what
I
I'd
like
have.
that. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sitting down and taking the time to chat with me.
Yeah, thank you, Michaela. Oh my gosh. Did I tell you your hair looks really good? I don't think I told you that.
No, thank you.
Welcome. The last time I saw you, you were blonde.
Blonde, blonde. Yeah, that was so unhealthy for the hair, so we had to tone it down a notch and
It looks really good. I mean, it looks good both ways. But
thank
I was
you.
like, Michaela,
Yeah, we had to give the hair some loving during coronavirus, so
it'll do it. When you don't have an ability to go get a hair appointment, it's like, well,
I know.
it'll do what it'll do.
Yep. All right. Well, you stay safe and healthy, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, you
Take
too.
care.
Hi, I'm Camren Bicondova, and you're watching Open Mic with Mac.